Yes, the conclusion of the greatest mock draft. The greatest NFL mock draft of 2020. Round 1. Let's go. The Minnesota Vikings are on the board. They have Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris, a elite safety duo. However, they need cornerbacks to solidify the secondary. So with the 22nd NFL draft pick, the Minnesota Vikings will select Jeff Gladney, quarterback out of TCU. He's scrappy, he's tough, and he's physical. He's not afraid to run press, and oftentimes he outbodies bigger receivers. His technique is impeccable, and he has all the traits to become a lockdown #1 cornerback. The New England Patriots are up next. I do not see them going quarterback, as I feel they like Jared Stidham. I think their defense is what sets them apart. And during the NFL offseason, they lost a lot of great linebackers. So with the 23rd NFL draft pick, the New England Patriots will select Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. Queen's football intelligence is off the charts, so he should be able to understand what Bill wants to do. In addition, he has great reactional quickness, meaning no one will be able to run on the Patriots. And if you can't run, you won't be able to pass. And that's how they could sneak into the playoffs without Tom Brady. Yes, sir. In addition, come on. They straight up fleeced the New Orleans Saints. However, it doesn't really faze them. This might be the most unique draft decision so far, but I believe that at pick 24, the New Orleans Saints should select Damian Arnett, cornerback out of Ohio State. An Ohio State cornerback who thrives in press man coverage. 6 foot tall, 195 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Marshawn Lattimore. So imagine 2 Marshawn Lattimores out there for the Saints. And they find a needed too, let's be honest. Going against Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin like that. And don't even get me started on that new Atlanta Falcons team. This is the second pick the Vikings would have in the first round. They already have picked up a cornerback in Jeff Gladney, and now I have them going defensive lineman and Yetur Gross-Matos, defensive end out of Penn State. What led me to this pick was his measurables. At 6'5", 264 pounds, he runs extremely fast. His short area agility, speed to power, and length are some things that stick out, which will set this man up for success in the NFL. He reminds me a lot of Danielle Hunter, for he has a relentless motor and is always chasing after the ball. The defense just got a whole lot better, and you stir up Dalvin Cook on that offense. Oh my goodness. I think right here the Miami Dolphins have to be ecstatic about their draft choices. They did end up selecting 2 Alabama players. So with this third first-round pick, I believe they may work on doing something bold, I guess you can say, and select Lloyd Cushenberry, offensive guard out of LSU. I think what sets Lloyd apart is his leadership qualities. He ended up being rewarded the coveted number 18 jersey, which is given to players who display a selfless attitude and play like a tiger at LSU. In addition, I believe with this IQ, he can play both the guard positions, which would allow for flexibility and learnability. Tua would learn to trust him, and he can count on him to make some leadership decisions when time calls for it. Little bit of a risk, but overall a great pickup. With the 27th overall NFL draft pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma. At 6'2", 234 pounds, he fits the typical Seattle linebacker core. But not only does he fit it, he makes it so much stronger. He is a rangy and urgent football player who plays at a very high pace and seeks the ball. He's physical, he's relentless, and he's going to set the stage whenever he walks on that field. And you pair him up with Bobby Swagner and KJ Wright, and you will not be able to run the ball. Meanwhile, Seattle will run all over you all day long. Take care of the ball and walk the clock tick and watch the clock tick away. Tick, tick, tick. The Ravens had a nice year last year, but the loss of Marshall Yonder was a tough one. I would have loved Cushenberry here, but Miami picked him up earlier. They currently do not have a right guard, but they do have Derek Wolfe and Calais Campbell, so that defense is fine. With the 28th overall NFL draft pick, the Baltimore Ravens select Cesar Ruiz, right guard out of Michigan. Talk about a pickup that would be. He'd be able to step in on day one and fill Yonder's shoes. He can play both center and guard. His best strength is balance. The Tennessee Titans had a great season last year. Not only did they make it to the playoffs, but they eliminated Tom Brady in the playoffs. I'm looking at their team and it's really good. They can go multiple ways, offensively in DeAndre Swift or defensively in AJ Espinosa. But I want the Titans to be great. And in order for the Titans to be great, they need to select DeAndre Swift, running back of Georgia. The normal thing for the Titans to do would have been to take Espinosa, but say they do take Swift, they will have taken up a future running back who has the speed and agility needed to complement Derrick Henry when he needs rest. This man also was in a 3-back committee last year and still managed to put a career number, so we know he can do it. Imagine him and Derrick Henry. Enough said. Run on their throats all day, every day. They finally go 10-6 and 10 instead of 9-7, and you put less stress on Tannehill to be great. And that man can be goated. The 30th pick in this mock draft might have been the easiest pick for me to make. With the 30th NFL draft pick, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah State. I do understand that Justin Herbert is still on the board, but I also know that Jordan Love has a lot of potential and can very well be the next thing we see to a Patrick Mahomes-like prospect. I think that in this situation, Jordan Love would flourish and would be able to reach Mahomes-like potential. He gets the redshirt for a year before even beginning to play any games. He learns from one of the greatest to ever do it. He sees Aaron Rodgers complete on a weekly basis and see what it takes. He will learn many lessons young and will be able to continue to work on his throwing base. For if his base is right, he will be great. And Aaron knows a thing or two about the stands. I'm all in on Jordan Love going to the Packers, and I honestly would love to see it happen. The San Francisco 49ers are on the clock with the 31st overall pick. The San Francisco 49ers select Malik Harris, an outside linebacker out of Ohio State. First thing I noticed was how tall this man was. He's 6'3", and he weighs 246 pounds. That's a man right there. You put in Fred Warner, who is also 6'3", 229 pounds, and you have a great middle of your defense. Already having Nick Bosa and D Ford up front, already drafting Javon Kinlaw to pair up with Arik Armstead, already having Richard Sherman and Jeremy Ward deep. See, now this is how you win games. That defense would be loaded from top to bottom. And this is how you get back to the Super Bowl next year, and not poor Rams. I believe they can do it, and these two picks would more than certainly help them out. The Super Bowl winning champions, Kansas City Chiefs, have the last pick of the first round in this NFL draft. I'm stuck between two cornerbacks. Do they go with more of a playmaker who is taller in Trevon Diggs, or the more all-around cornerback in A.J. Terrell? With the last pick in the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs decide to take Trevon Diggs, cornerback out of Alabama. I feel like it was only right that we need to end on an Alabama player. He's 6'2" and will provide enough height to a team that honestly kind of needs it. He's physical, he's dominant, and he's mean. Being a former wide receiver, he excels at reading routes, and he excels at making plays on the ball, something the Honey Badger would appreciate. There's been a tie between the most players drafted by the single college between Alabama and LSU, but Bama always. Yes, let's get it. Imagine